welcome to Bad Psychics episode 22. We'll be covering, I believe this might be titled the WSL, but this is women's football in general for the 25-26 season. I'm your host. I'm once again not Z. I'm joined by the man who is actually Z, and I predict will be willing to talk about Birmingham City in a good light again. He does have the shirt on. It's Z. How are you doing, Z?
Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. And I also predict that our next guest is going to be the first person who's actually, well, good for this show, and Z is actually willing to have this person on. Woman. It's a woman talking about women's sport. Imagine that. Eloise.
Trust me, I'm gonna be awful at this. Don't worry.
Yes.
I feel like I'm just as qualified to talk about women's things. I'm sure genetically I'm part woman. I don't know.
I mean, aren't we all just part woman at the end of the day?
Yeah,
We are all at least half woman.
I feel like aren't we all just part woman is an early episode title.
Yes, something. We're all bicep, not biceps. We're all
Bicycles. Are we all bicycles?
We're all
I think we're all
bicycles. There we go. We're all
bicycles.
bicycles.
Oh, I thought he said biceps. I was like
I was
something bicep.
I was gonna say buy
We
something,
haven't.
but then I've forgotten what the actual word non-binary. That's it. Fucking hell.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, because you're somewhere in between, or not in between, or somewhere mastical. Anyway,
We're in great form.
yes,
We're,
yes.
we're
This is a great
this is fucking red heart,
Yes.
white heart, just absolute, just
Oh, this does not bode.
No.
This does not bode well for the rest of the episode. I'm
Yes.
sorry, folks.
Yes, I'm running on not much sleep. I apologise. So anyway, to hopefully move on from the bullshit, let's move on to our first section. So we'll be talking about the various women's leagues, top 3 women's leagues in England, and also the Cup winners and the Champions League and the new for the season Women's Europa Cup winner. I'm honest, before I wrote this, we'll get the set spreadsheet up, I completely forgot the Women's Europa Cup was going to be a thing. It has not had much publicity at all, mainly because England don't have any teams in it as of yet. But I'm sure we'll get onto it later on. But let's start off with the WSL Women's Super League winner. It's obviously been Chelsea for the past 6 years, I want to say, something stupid like that.
It's been a while.
Yes, so let's see if we've gone for anything different. Oh, okay. Z has gone for Arsenal, breaking the streak, whereas me and Eloise have gone a bit more and just gone for Chelsea again. So Z, why Arsenal to break the everlasting Chelsea dominance?
I mean, I think several reasons. I still don't think that Chelsea are necessarily going to be as strong in the long term without that permanent guiding Emma Hayes sort of force around there. I know they had a very, very, very good season last season.
Yes.
But I think also I preferred the look of Arsenal's business for the season. Like picking up Chloe Kelly, picking up Annika Borba from Germany, and then a couple of other players as well. And also they brought in Taylor Hines from Liverpool. That was the one I was trying to remember. I just prefer the look of their business. I think it's going to be between the two with maybe one other, maybe one of the trio of United, City, or Liverpool that could get themselves into the mix if they have a good season. But for me, it's between those two. I figured that it was more likely other people would go Arsenal, so I went Chelsea.
Okay.
Sorry, other way around, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, Eloise, and why do you think Chelsea is going to just continue their everlasting dominance of all things women's football?
Yeah, I don't think much will change in that department. I think Chelsea will be 7-time champions. It won't be much more than that. I feel like it, because it's just always Chelsea, and last year it was such a difference between Chelsea and the rest that I don't think it will change.
Yeah, makes sense. I've also gone for Chelsea just for that reason. I do think it'll be a bit closer than last season. At least I hope so. I hope we don't get another unbeaten season. I think I'm hoping it'll be, well, Arsenal will at least give it a go as he mentioned, but yeah, I can still see Chelsea just beating Chelsea and winning everything as per usual. Moving on to the Champions League places, which should be second and third this season. I believe those were occupied by Arsenal and Manchester United last season. So are we going to see the same again? We've effectively all gone for the same top three, I guess, just in a different order.
Yeah.
So me and Eloise gone for Arsenal and City, whereas Z gone for City and Chelsea. So does that correspond to the order of the table for you, Z, or is it just whoever's wherever?
No, if it was corresponding to the table, I think I'd definitely put it the other way around.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I chose that order. Yes. But yeah, I think, as I said before, probably City, United, Liverpool are the three teams that, if they have a good season, could get themselves into the mix. I think City are the ones most likely to be able to do it consistently, though. So I went with them. But if it turned out to be one of the other two, I wouldn't be hugely surprised.
Yep. And Eloise, any particular reason why United would miss out this time round compared to last time? Or is it just consistency?
Yeah, so Chelsea, obviously, I've nailed on to win. I feel like Arsenal almost nailed on to come second. And then it felt like it's either the two Manchester clubs. And I thought, I mean, maybe United have a better team. I don't know. Hopefully, City maybe might have a better manager, more stability. I don't know. It just felt like it's very much very close between those two teams because it was like last year it was that top four were miles ahead away from anyone else.
Yeah.
Fifth place had 28 points. City in fourth had 43 points. Like there's a gap. So it is almost like just a coin flip. But I feel, yeah, I don't know. It'll probably be United now. But yeah, it was kind of almost like a blind guess between the two.
Yes.
You can change if you want to.
No.
Okay.
Didn't say I want to change.
It's
just my luck.
Yes. So obviously I'm Arsenal. I also think Arsenal's going to finish second because I can't see anyone else catching him. Third place, I put City for two reasons. Number one, Marte, and number two, they no longer have Gareth Taylor, who was also Marte's least favourite manager in the entire world, who I think very much were holding City back towards the start in the middle of last season. Which now they have someone who is not Gareth Taylor. They can actually, finish third, hopefully more comfortably than last time. More comfortably than 1 point, but yeah. As I said, it's a bit of an unknown. The City United, I think, because it could always be a toss up with United. Doing nicer things, and I say pumping money in. They make money. They make a lot of money themselves, so they'll always have a strong squad. Moving on to the other end of the table, obviously this year with the expansion of the Super League to 14 teams, there is no direct relegation from the Super League to Super League 2. There was at one point going to be no relegation at all, but they have actually done a playoff between last place in the WSL and third place in the Championship. WSL 2, sorry, I forgot the change the name. So we're going to predict basically who finishes bottom. I believe last year the bottom place was bottom place was Crystal Palace, who finished about 10 points behind Spurs and Leicester. So let's see who we've got for this one. So yes, once again, Z has gone for something different from us, being Eloise. So he's gone for West Ham. Me and Eloise have gone for Leicester. I'll start with you, Eloise, this time. Leicester were, I guess, sort of third bottom, but effectively 10 points behind.
Yeah.
Do you think they're just going to be sort of overtaken by, well, what is it, relative money bags like London City Lionesses who've just come up?
Yeah. Because like the easy option would be put the team that just got promoted, but the Lionesses have put a lot of money in and they've done a ton of transfers, which I don't know. I don't know how good they are, but the amount of like investment that's gone in is like surely they've got to like at least avoid last. So then then there'd be two. Looking at who stayed up, and I didn't want to say Tottenham because of biases. So. And obviously, Z's answers was also up for consideration, but so that just leaves me to Leicester, who, looking briefly back at the last few years, they seem to always be around there. So I thought that would make the most sense. They would finish bottom of the league.
Okay. And Z, so do you think the bottom of the table is going to be, I wouldn't say a bit more competitive, but a bit more closer than last year due to the fact there's no relegation this time around?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. It could go either way, because some teams might feel like basically all they have to do at the end of a season is win a playoff, and so there's less pressure on them. On the other hand, it might give them a bit of freedom. I think for me, I completely agree that it was basically between Leicester and West Ham for me. Leicester have finished 10th the last two seasons. West Ham have finished 11th and 9th. I just a lot of the decisions I've made where I've not been sure have been based on how much do I think the club as an overall organization cares about the women's team. And I think often a good indicator of that is where they allow them to play their matches. And for me, Leicester women are allowed to play in the King Power itself, whereas West Ham get fobbed off to Victoria Road. So that I kind of think if you can get a stadium full of people singing your team's name, it's always worth an extra 10%. So that was my logic.
Yep, makes sense. Moving on to the other end of moving on to the second division, and this time because the expansion, we have two teams going up directly, with one team in the playoff. So we're predicting the top three teams from this division. So let's see who we've gone for. So we seemingly all predict Birmingham and Bristol City to go up in some form or fashion. But the third clubs we have sort of decided sort of differed quite a bit. So start with Eloise, Crystal Palace. You think they're going to bounce back and at least get in the top three?
Yeah, I can't see why they can't at least get to the top three. Like I have a feeling like the other two clubs will beat them off in the rest of the season.
Excuse me? That's not acceptable talk for women's football.
We'll beat them in the duration
There
of
we go.
the season, but yeah. Cut.
No, we're leaving this in. Okay, so
Move on.
so outside Palace beating people off, Z, you've also gone for another
Yeah.
London club in Charlton. They were up there at the end of last season. I think they were third in the table last season. Do you think it's going to do that again?
Well, third last season, second season before, I think the Charlton as an organisation, I think, cares about their women's team and give it a reasonable chunk of funding. So I think for me, especially compared with a lot of the other teams, I feel like the teams that are more cared for by their parent teams are not necessarily the higher quality ones, and then sort of the ones that do pump a bit of money and aren't necessarily as like, well, sorry, the ones that might have a few better players aren't necessarily as loved. So yeah, I think Charlton have to go up eventually with their
Yeah.
overall form. So I don't see why it can't be this season. But I'm definitely predicting the mighty Birmingham to go up.
Yes. And seeing as another club you haven't mentioned, Eloise, why your favourite club in the entire world, Bristol City, will be going up this time?
Who?
Yes, BC star TY, as you put them.
Whatever club that is, I reckon they've probably been in the WSL before, and have also, even though last year weren't as good, probably will somehow worm themselves up there. But yes, no more talk of that club. That doesn't exist.
Yes. So just to touch on my other different club, I'm going for Newcastle. Similar line of reason to Z. I think they've been pumping a bit of money into the club over the last couple of years or so. They tend to get a reasonable fan base, and although they're not based at Newcastle's ground, I can't see it being too long before they move in. They have moved grounds to Gateshead, which at least is closer to Newcastle's ground. Although it is Gateshead, so playing in athletic start track is probably not going to help. But yeah, I can see them fitting into this third spot, which I think will be pretty tightly contested between, I'd probably say, some of the more well-funded, sort of backed clubs, which I think will just come at a cost of a team like a Durham, who will just won't have the facilities to compete and probably will be sort of bottom half, maybe edging towards relegation if they just because of the way of things. Money comes up. A club like Durham, who are basically just a university team, won't be able to compete sadly. But speaking of sliding down, relegation, there are 2 spots going down this time as per usual. We have all gone for Ipswich to go down. Z and Eloise have gone for Portsmouth, and I've gone for Sheffield United. So Z, Portsmouth, I think they were very much knocking around the bottom of the table last season. Is this going to be inevitability this time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the fact that they managed to survive with 13 points last season, they conceded the most goals in the league by a comfortable margin. Like even Sheffield United, who only scored 7 points in a season, conceded 11 fewer goals than them. So for me, I think they seem like the obvious choice. I also noticed that they play in Havant and not Portsmouth itself. Well, I think Havant's about 25 minutes outside of Portsmouth. And as daft as it sounds, I do sort of think about infrastructure where I'm going, well, if you're a Portsmouth men's team fan and you decide you want to see the women, how many people will it put off that they can't just watch them at Fratton Park or at least somewhere local?
Yeah, makes sense. And Eloise, Ipswich, going straight back down.
Yeah. I basically decided I'll pick one of the teams that got relegated, and then I'll try to find another team. So that's why I went Ipswich. Think Forest, isn't it? Should be fine. And then the other one was just kind of whatever team around the bottom last year would fall down, and yeah, Portsmouth was
the one.
I mean, I would have said Blackburn. I did have that originally, but then I was informed that they've already been. I assume that's financial reasons, and
Yeah.
that's why the league is isn't it? It's like 11 teams, right?
So they've got back to 12 because
I'm not
Sheffield
going
United
crazy.
got reprieved from relegation, basically.
Yeah.
So
No, I do think just like as a kind of related side note, I do think the women's leagues are so difficult to predict because so many clubs have had a little burst where they've been like, we're really going to invest in our women because it's popular at that moment, or it looks like the right thing to do. And then they have a couple of good seasons, but then they decide that they want to spend the money elsewhere or cut costs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, you never know exactly who's on one of the upbursts because the club are, caring or pretending to care, or whether they're sort of on a downward slide. But
Yeah, I think the with the Women's Championship especially, basically the ground grading and financial stuff gets a lot more restrictive. Basically going from the third tier to the second tier, so you're gonna get there's a lot less room to maneuver in terms of maybe funding the clubs less, so they're more likely to take a hit, and if I fail, either just have a duff season or say just get demoted like Botman was. And yeah, we haven't touched upon Sheffield United, so I'll touch upon them. They finished last season. They were basically saved by administrative reasons, so I can't see any reason why they would particularly want to they particularly improve this season. So the teams that would be replacing these relegated clubs from the National League, which is of course split into North and South divisions. This season there are two automatic promotion places, one from each division, and then a playoff between the second places in each division to see who goes up. So let's see who we've predicted to go up from the third tier. Okay, so me and Eloise have gone for both Wolves and Bournemouth to go up from North and South, presumably top. Z's also predicted Wolves and Plymouth. Whereas third place is I've gone for Stoke because he's gone for Rugby and Eloise gone for Hashtag United. So we'll start with the Plymouth, presumably finishing top of their division. I think they did quite well last season. So the first attempt.
Yeah, I mean that was a part of it. I feel like they seem to be like trying to improve uh, year on year. Um, I mean, I think I'm not. I'd be lying if I said I was exactly sure why I felt like Plymouth would do well. I definitely think it helps that they're being committed to playing in home park. So, as I said, that does tend to bear in my thinking that if you can have a potential crowd of 17,000 cheering you on rather than some 2K ground somewhere. I realise that probably aren't going to be 17,000 in the National League, Women's National League, but having that capacity is always useful. It suggests that a team are going to put some money in. Because the season at this level started last week, I did notice that they'd beaten #United 3-0, and I know # did well last season, so I kind of went, well, if they're going to beat them up earlier, that helps.
And Eloise, I guess, moved sort of on that third #United to fill in that third spot. Is that just based on how they did last season?
I mean, yeah, like the two of the teams I've got here very much came second last year in their respective leagues. Like, see, Wolves did, and # did. Though I have # finished in second because I have Bournemouth going up back to back because I feel like they have momentum and they absolutely destroyed the isn't it the Southwest Division 1 Southwest League?
Yes.
Last year with a certain Bristol Rovers in. There we go. I had to get Rovers in there. But yeah, they were incredibly good. So I have a feeling that they'll win the league and # and then we'll win the playoff system.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes. So I'll talk about Wolves. Basically, they finished second, just behind Nottingham Forest, last season in the Northern Premier. I think they've again got a decent backing from the club, so they will probably go up, just as winners, probably pretty comfortably this time round. I think they opened out a good gap towards the end of the season last time, and I just picked Stoke because I live in Stoke. I want to see them do well, basically. That's another interesting thing you pick Rugby, who are one of the smaller clubs in that division. Is that entirely because they won the first game 6-0?
It's part of it, but they also finished 5th last season, which I thought was a pretty good attempt, given that that was the season where they've been promoted. And like they beat Hull, who were an established team, like 10-0 at one point. So I get the impression that maybe they're like being really supported by their ownership. And so I thought if you finish 5th in a 12-team league this season, to me the next logical step would be to push for playoffs.
Yeah.
And it did help that they beat an established Derby team 6-0 weekend.
Yep, makes sense. Moving on to the cups. So the FA Cup, we are predicting. Oh, I'm the one who's gone different this time. Okay, Zia and Eloise have gone for Chelsea. Eloise is predicting Chelsea to do a double this time, and I've gone for Arsenal. So Eloise, I'm guessing this is just a continuation of Chelsea winning everything.
Yeah, just to be safe and predict Chelsea to win things. Yes. Yeah, there's not much more to say. I just think Chelsea will have a good season, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Whereas I went for Arsenal just to be different, and I want someone else to win everything this year, essentially. And they are second, so they will more than likely win it, if not Chelsea. Moving on to the League Cup, the Subway Cup, whatever it's called. I think it's still sponsored by Subway. We have all gone different this time. Z has picked Arsenal to win this one. Eloise has gone for Chelsea again. And I've gone for City. I'm going to put mine out there. I just wanted someone else to win the League Cup this time, and City finished third. And it will also put in Marta's good books. So there we go. Z, Arsenal, is just to do something different again.
I think for me, they're definitely the two best teams. I feel like both of them will likely focus on one cup over the other. So I just went for one picking each, and my logic, my overall logic was that I said on the men's episodes that I often think that the FA Cup gets won by a team that finished second or third because they stopped playing for the league as much. So I figured as I had Arsenal winning, I'd go Chelsea, but then Arsenal to try and grab the League Cup earlier on in the season. But we'll see.
Makes sense. And Eloise, did you consider anyone else maybe winning this? Because Chelsea might not be caring too much.
I'm very much playing it as if Chelsea don't win the league, cups. If they don't win one cup, they might win the other cup. It's very much. I feel like playing it safe here, and if they win it all, then they win it all.
Yep. So just to recap on the points that we get for each of these. So basically 5 points if you get the team correct for the various things, except for the National League promotion on the League Cup. You get 3 points because they're less relevant. For the Women's Super League, you get 2 points if they finish in the top 3. And for the Sunday League players, if they win the league, you also get 2 points. So I guess that's why I all did the same top 3, because they're each going to get some points depending on where they all switch around. And yeah, I think that's everything for now. Moving on to the European football. So the Women's Champions League, obviously Arsenal won it last year ahead of beating Barcelona in the final. I think it was 1-0, I want to say. So let's see who predicted for this one. Eloise has once again predicted Chelsea. Going for a Chelsea clean sweep. I hope I'm predicting for the Europa as well, because I can't win that.
I hope she has.
It's gonna be Chelsea's B team entering randomly, winning it. Whereas me and Z are gone for Barca. Barca, do you think they're gonna get revenge from last year essentially?
I mean, for me, they've made, I think, the last, I would say, 5 finals. So I kind of figured that if you're looking to play the odds, you have to go for a team that's going to be in that final match. I think a lot of other teams are capable of having like mini good spells. I think you've even had teams be relevant or more relevant for like 2 or 3 years and then struggle. I'm thinking of Leon a few years back who looked unstoppable and then didn't. But playing the odds, I think you have to go Barcelona.
Yeah, that's pretty much summed up my thinking for this as well. Napoli's going to get points if they are in the final, and they will more than likely be. And Chelsea and Eloise, did you think anyone else other than Chelsea would win this? Maybe one of the other many clubs in Europe.
I mean, Barcelona's the boring option, but probably Barcelona. But that's the boring option.
Says
'Cause
woman
obviously-
who's put Chelsea for everything.
Now, Chelsea for this would be interesting because they've never won the Champions League.
That's true.
They've never won it. There's only ever been one English team that's won it, and that's Arsenal twice. So that would be interesting, in my opinion. And I thought at this point it'd be very funny to put Chelsea all that time. So yeah, this was just to be funny. So yeah, Chelsea clean sweep. And yeah, Chelsea are going to win the Europa League.
Okay. Well, let's see if Eloise has put that down. Moving on to the Europa Cup. I think it's Europa Cup, not the Europa League, for some reason in women's football. So Z and Eloise have gone for Ajax, and I've gone for PSV. I'll start with you, Eloise. Something other than Chelsea, although you were force predicted this time. Was there any logic behind this?
So almost like half of the teams haven't been announced for this yet.
Yes.
Like they haven't qualified yet. So I'm like, how am I meant to like make a make some sort of decision? So I just looked at teams that are in it, like rather than just faffing around with all the qualifying process and trying to see who could possibly. I'm just like Ajax, sure, that they'll do. I'm gonna not win here, but it's hard to predict when most of it hasn't been done yet.
Makes sense. And a similar reasoning for you, just because they are in the competition confirmed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did do a little more of trying to look at teams that I thought might I think off the top of my head it was Feyenoord I was tempted by. But yeah, for me, I just felt like it's better to know that you have a whole a dog in the fight than no dog at all.
Okay, and I'm going to put it completely the opposite tack. So the Champions League qualifiers are in this weird sort of mini tournament format.
Yep.
The runners-up in the sort of three-team thingy thing goes through to the last qualifying round for the Europa Cup, and whoever finishes third goes into the first qualifying round. I looked at all of the second qualifying round Champions League thingies, and I saw United were playing PSV. PSV
Okay.
did finish second in their league last season in the Dutch league, which was 1 point ahead of Ajax, and I can't see him beat United. So I reckon they're pretty much a shoe in to get in this competition. Assuming they don't bustle it against, well, presumably be Metalist from Ukraine. And yeah, I think I just didn't want to pick Ajax, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
fair.
picked the team that's probably guaranteed to be at the most. I looking at the rest of them. I don't think the teams who'd finish runner up or third in the rest of them would probably have a chance of winning this. Really, I do think this is going to be a bit more of a bit more of a distributed group of teams
Yeah.
in the Europa Cup rather than a in the Conference League in men's football. So yeah, Dutch teams are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, one thing I do want to say is I hadn't been aware of the qualification process for the Champions League before. I quite like the small little tournaments they do that are hosted by one of the teams. And I wasn't aware of the process. I'm like, oh, this is quite cool. Like, yeah,
It's very much so that the cups of the smaller nations can actually don't have to truck
yeah,
across Europe every time because they
save money.
automatically save money. Yeah, but I would imagine this it's not going to last very long, sadly. Just because there'll be the teams like United or Roma or someone like that will probably be pushing for more of a Champions League style system eventually. So we'll probably just make it with the men's system.
Yeah, and the Europa Cup will be interesting, and honestly, I might be interested in it because it's a straight shootout.
Yes.
You know, one loss, you're out. It's
Yeah.
a 16 team
Yes.
knockout tournament. That's
Yes.
a rarity in football nowadays.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It's a surprising throwback to when the Champions League was
yeah,
actually the Champions League.
hmm
And there's the Cup Winners' Cup. Imagine that. Imagine that. The Champions League just containing champions and not some team who finished fifth.
Do miss the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah.
Side note, great tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of. It's unfortunate that they're going to get lost and they just get lost in the Europa League shuffle, really, now, don't they? Or Conference League if you go to Crystal Palace, of course. Yeah. All right. Moving on from the results, we're going to move into our next section. The next section is the miscellaneous numbers section, where we'll predict various things that are going to happen in the Women's Super League, numbers wise and awards wise, and we'll have our bonus question as well towards the end. So first up, it's the total number of goals that will be scored.
oh yeah.
Yes, Eloise has gone for the weed number. I've gone for
this.
yes. I've gone for 405 and Zia's gone for 399. So I'll start with Z. Just on the 400. I believe last season's total goals like 415 or something around that number. Is this just because Palace have gone, basically?
Yeah, it was 4-2-4 last season. I felt like Palace have gone down, been replaced by a better team. I think as well, year on year, defending, I think, is getting to a better standard in the women's game. So those things combined, I was like, let's go around the 3 goals a game mark. And yeah,
Makes sense. Eloise, funny read number.
So I obviously didn't Google strong enough because I couldn't find last year's number, but I found the number of the year before, so which was 437. So I thought it'll be less than that, so around around the 420 marks. I was like, I was like, oh yeah, funny number. We keep it. That was my thought process. So yes.
Makes sense. Moving on to the number of yellow cards. Okay, quite a difference. I've gone for exactly 300 just because I like round numbers. Z, you've gone lower again, 248, and Eloise has gone highest with 345. I start with Eloise, 345, that's quite a lot of yellow cards. So getting towards 2 or 3 a game.
Yeah, I added up all the yellow cards last year, and it was around that, give or take. So I thought, yeah, we'll go with that. It felt like a normal number, and yeah, I don't mind slightly going higher because, yeah. So
And Z, I assume this is to cover off the lower bases.
yeah. I mean, partially, I thought I'd go low rather than high. I It was also somewhat based on the fact that when we did our women's Euros episode, the number of yellow cards um seemed very low. And so I thought it might relate across. Last season, no team had more than 40. To me, that suggested that there's probably a fair number that may well only be having like something in the 20s. So I went a smidge above 20 and trying to take the low point.
Makes sense. Moving on to the red cards. We've all pretty much gone for roughly the same rows of numbers. Eloise's gone for the lower end this time. Z's gone on the higher end. I am once again stuck in the middle. I'm presuming Z to cover off the high red cards to play the field.
Yeah, a little bit of playing the field. Also, again, reflecting the Women's Euros episode, there's like a surprisingly high number of red cards given the surprisingly low number of yellow cards. So I sort of thought I don't really have a great deal to go on, so I'll kind of match that world logic and see if it applies to English football.
Yep. And Eloise, I think that was the number of red cards last season. Same again then?
Yep, that was the thinking. Same numbers last year.
Okay. Makes sense. I was going to do similar, but then I added 1 to make sure I wasn't going to copy anyone. That did also mean I'm now in a position where I need to get 9 basically, or maybe 10 to get some points. So good thinking, me. Top scorer. Both Z and Eloise have gone for Kajija Bunny Shaw, and I've gone for Lauren James. My thinking for this was Lauren James was one of England's top scorers in the Euros. He had a good chunk of time off last season for I think it was a calf injury, and then another injury after that. I was worried. There's a bit of worry about her being a bit injured, but injury prone. But when she played the full season the season before, I think she was like near enough top scorer. I think she got 13 goals. So I'm kind of banking on her doing it again after a good showing in the Euros. And I go for Z on this one. Kajija Shaw, City striker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's particularly shocking to think that the person who's been at least tied for most goals the last 3 seasons will at least be in there. I recognise that it's not a particularly interesting pick, but she's gone 20 goals, 12 and something, still picked it up, and then I think her worst season since she came over here, she scored 9, and in that season was enough for 5th. So, like, I just play the odds uh, and hopefully take some points.
Makes sense. Moving on to the player of the season. Lauren James has gone to Z for player of the season. Olivia's gone for Bunny again. As I've gone for Mario, and I think it's Caldente. I think that's how you say it. Obviously, my thinking was she won it last season. She's still in the league. She'll probably be nominated at least, which will get us points. So, again, playing the field a bit. Z, Lauren James, do you think she's going to maybe move? She's going to score a few and still be a key player?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think she's improving year on year. Like, I think it feels a bit like she's been around forever, but she's still very young. She's only 23.
Yeah.
And it does feel like I feel like if she hadn't had the injury she had last season, that would have been a year to really kick on. So I'm thinking and kind of expecting this to be the season where she goes from very good, recognizable player to like star.
Yep. Makes sense. And Eloise, we don't often see the top goal scorer win the player of the season. It's just she's going to score too many goals to ignore, really, this time around.
It felt safe because she did it 2 years ago. She got the top goal scorer and the player of the season. So that's why I was like, it feels like it feels like she could. I couldn't really think of anyone else, and not put a stupid answer because I don't know all the players. So I was like, sure, I'll double up on someone who's won it before, who very much. I mean, if you score like 12 plus, getting into like 13, 14, 15, you probably deserve player of the season. So that was the thinking.
Okay, makes sense. Moving on to the what was last season the Rising Star Award, and then the season before that was all just Young Player of the Year awards. I don't know what they're going to call it this season. Hopefully not the Rising Star, because that's a bit of a crap name. But
I think I do think they're actually two separate.
Okay. There was.
Like awards.
There was the Football Writers one and the League one.
Yeah.
I am going to assume we're gonna do the League one, just because that will likely be announced quicker than the PFA ones, I believe. So whatever it's going to be called this year. So basically the Young Player of the Year award. Who's going to win it this year? So me and Eloise have gone for Michelle Ajimang. Terrible with these names. And Z has gone for Kirsty McLean, who I can say. So I hope I can anyway. Hope it didn't bottle the easiest name to say in the world. So Z, Kirsty McLean.
Yeah. She's just moved to Liverpool from Rangers. She was part of the Rangers team that like won their first Scottish title back in 21-22. She's 20 years old, but she's had 100 appearances for Rangers, 10 caps for the Scottish national team already. I just feel like Liverpool are a really good fit for her. And I feel like player of the year and young player are often more likely to go to midfielders, I think, rather than out and out goal scorers. So yeah, I feel like she very much improves that Liverpool team, and I would expect her reputation to grow exponentially.
And Eloise, was your prediction based on how she did the Euros?
Yeah, basically. As I struggled with this one, so I just went very safe.
Hmm.
So this was going very safe because I feel like she'll kick on and do really well.
Yes. I believe she's at Brighton again this year, on loan
Okay.
from Arsenal, I
Is she
think.
on loan again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice, but Brighton did finish fifth, so I'm presuming they'll be
Yeah.
another solid mid-table side. If she becomes a star player in that, there's a good chance she'll win it. Plus, she did also win the Euros Young Player of the Year, Young Player of the tournament, so there's a reasonable chance she'll kick on again, as we say. Time for some more numbers. The number of 5+ goal wins that will be across the course of the season. I believe there were 7 last season, I want to say. So, have we gone for anything different this year? Not really. So, Eloise has gone with 7 on the dot. Z's gone with 5, and I am once again stuck in the middle with 6. Eloise, sticking with same as last season despite Palace getting relegated.
I think I'm -1. I have a +1 or -1 from the total because I don't think it was. It's somewhere around that, and I very much
I didn't want to minus 1.
guessed accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Z, similar, I'm assuming covering the low end as well.
Oh, my logic was look at how many there were last season. Remove the ones that were Palace because they were just that bad, and I don't think it's going to be the same this season. So that put me down to 4. I mean, 4 just felt a smidge low, so put 1 back on.
Okay. Makes sense. Moving on to the average attendance. So last season the average attendance dipped down a bit from the previous year. I think it went below 6,500 or so. So we are expecting a bit of a recovery this time around. Z has gone again. Z's gone to the high end of 7,900. Eloise the low end of 6,800. I'm once again in the middle. I'm really bad at these predictions. I am. I should really go a bit more extreme. So Z, is this sort of going to be another Euros winning the Euros boost to attendances?
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. I think last time the women won the Euros, attendances were boosted by I think about 30%. I felt like that was probably a bit too high. I doubt there's as many people who will have been converted this time around. So I kind of went for I think it's roughly about a 15% rise, I want to say. So it I do think, yeah, the big question with this one is what all the people who could be converted last time they won, and thus it's not going to make the blindest bit of difference, or are there still more people? I'm going for it being half as effective as last time, but still effective.
Okay. And Eloise, I guess your arguments for going on the low end.
Well, Palace got relegated, and I feel like I was really trying to find Lioness's attendance figures, but I don't know if it'd be higher than Palace's about 2,000 odd. So I very much kind of was going to put it lower, and then there was like, no, 6.8 looks about right because it's slightly higher than it was last season. And then that kind of would benefit to me a little bit as well, because if there was a boost to attendances because of the Euros, so yeah, it's basically I suppose I'm playing it low, but also not too far from what it was last year.
Honestly, my reason for this was this is roughly about what it was 2 seasons ago. And I think there'll be, I guess, a bit of a reversion back to that. Again, people coming in because the women's team has good success. I don't think the promotion relegations are going to change too much. They're in about the same size of stadium. Palace as well, we're at Sutton Stadium, which is about 5k. Linus are at Bromley's, I want to say, or Dartford, one of the two, who are also about 5k capacity. So they'll probably average out roughly the same. So yeah, I expect it to be around about level it was a couple of seasons ago. Hopefully it's higher, of course, but we'll see how things go. I think there's a definite diminishing returns with winning everything internationally, for sure. And our final proper question of this one is a simple yes or no. Does the WSL team who finished in the playoff get relegated? We all predicted no. Okay. So I'll go for you, Z. Any chance of it being a yes for you? With whoever you've got to finish third. I think you've got Bristol City to finish third from what you predicted.
There is always there's always a chance. I think for me, the real duffers were gotten rid of last season. I think, as I said, I've got West Ham finishing bottom, and even them, I think, over 2 matches against a team that don't manage to qualify automatically, I'd certainly back them. But yeah, if they did go down, I don't think it would be some almighty shock. But I do think, based on law of averages, they're going to win more often than not.
Yeah. Eloise, your thoughts similar? I believe based on your audience, you've got Palace to finish third.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win, so that's why it's you're more likely gonna have the team above win. So
yeah,
that was my thinking.
Yeah, so much of it we've seen play across relegation playoffs in the men's game as well, like the Scottish one. Generally, the Scottish League Two club wins most of the time. I think in pretty much everything, generally the higher team has a more than half chance of winning. So better to predict no than yes for this one. Moving on to the bonus questions. Ooh. Let's see what we've predicted to happen in general in women's football this season. So I'll start from the end. Eloise has gone for there'll be more than 10 goalless draws in the Women's Super League. Have you got a reasoning for this? Because I think that will be about a bit less than 10% of the games, I want to say.
Yeah, so last year there was 4.
Okay.
So I decided I never go risky on these sort of ones. So yeah, let's go risky again. So yeah, it's something that seems almost very hard to happen, but yeah, we could get some boring football. It's not probably not very possible at all, but yeah, let's have some boring football.
Yeah, we all love boring football. So yes, I do think this is very unlikely, pretty much because you rarely ever get 0-0s in the women's game in general.
Yep.
Defending reasons, physical size reasons, etc. for keepers. Various potential explanations for that. And yes, I think, as you said, there's 4 last season. I believe the season before there was 2 across the entire season. This is just me just scanning the results grid on Wikipedia. And then the season before that, I don't think there was any. No, there was 1, I believe. So it is increasing. It is technically exponentially increasing from 1 to 2 to 4.
Am I cooked? Am I cooked, chat?
Yes. So Z, is Eloise cooked?
I don't think it's as implausible as the one from the last episode. Um, I think that was definitely more unlikely for me. You know, as I said earlier, and as you pointed out with those stats, the defending is getting better year on year. I think more than 10. Well, so I'm going to double check here. You're saying more than 10,
Oh, for
not
fuck's sake.
10 or more.
I meant 10 or more.
Okay.
that's fine.
I mean, I'm happy for you to change it.
Yeah.
10 or more. That's just what I. Okay, so we're basically saying that yeah, we're saying that one in every 13.2 games
Yes.
would need
No goals.
no goals, which basically means pretty much one game every other match week.
Yes.
Sure.
And I think when you frame it like that, is it likely? No. Is it like super implausible? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I mean on the last episode, Eloise's high offer was 20 and 20. I don't think this is anywhere near that. But I think it's I mean I tell you what, just because I think it will be fun. Uh given that Eloise wants a goalless draw every 13.2 games, I think we should make her high offer 13.2 up and 13.2 down.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the low offer is going to be half of that, which would be like
I mean,
6.7, no, 6.6.
I mean, we established last time that actually, when you take bigger risks, there ought to be a little less
Yes,
penalty
that's
in the low, but you still need to have sufficient penalty.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody goes for
That's
1,000-to-1 shots.
Yeah.
So I think for me, if this is 13.2 and 13.2, I would say I'd say 6.6 and 4.4 for the lower offer. I think that's probably where I'm at. Do you
Yeah,
disagree?
I'm happy with that. I'm enjoying the introduction of decimals to the bonus points.
Yes.
Eloise, are you gonna stay low? Or are you gonna be not a coward and go high?
I was trying to poker face it there. I'm gonna bite your hand off for the lower offer because it's a really good lower offer.
Okay. So that's 6.6 and 4.4.
Yeah.
Low end. Okay. Moving on to Z's bonus question. Bonus prediction. 50% or more of the managers in the league, assuming the WSL, to be sacked. So I am not sure how much turnover there is. I'm assuming we're also starting it from the start of the actual league season.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
from September, basically.
I'm going with the similar logic to what we did for the men's episode, which is that give it a week after the end of the final match in like the women's season.
Okay.
I assume the women's Champions League is probably last, but
Yes. Okay.
a week from the final point.
Okay.
Last season, the answer to that would have been 5.
Yes.
The season before that was 3, and the season before that was double checking. I think the season before that was 4. So um, I think this would be a record high,
Yes.
to the best of my knowledge. And the reason for me it's a bit of a punt is that there's 2 ways of looking at this season with the expansion coming next season. And that is, will teams not be as likely to sack their managers because there's ultimately not as much jeopardy, or will teams start to go, if we bring in a new manager now, they have time without that jeopardy to try and build a team's identity ready for next season. So I know what kind of level I think it's at, but that's my explanation for you to discuss.
I think that's a pretty sensible way of looking at it. So you were saying, so there was 5 teams got sacked manager, 5 managers got sacked last season. So we'd be looking at 6 or more this season, and that would also include if it somehow managed to happen where there was 2 managers who got sacked. That would basically play into it as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So 2 managers from the same club who get sacked, that would also play into it. Okay.
Yeah, I think basically what I should have put is 6 or more
teams.
Just 6 or more managers, full-time managers, will be sacked.
Okay.
Is basically the
basically
essence of it.
Okay. And we're not including interim managers or anything like that.
Not including interim managers,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
If it was interim managers, it would have been 6 last year. But as I say, I can't find a season where there's been 6.
Yeah.
So it's whether you think it's more likely or less likely to
Yeah.
happen this season because of the expansion.
Yeah. I am verging towards this being quite unlikely. Probably because of the reasons you said. See that the lack of jeopardy for most clubs will probably mean they're more likely to stay relatively safe. And a club who's clear, who's underperforming but not underperforming massively, like they're third bottom and they should have been top half, they're probably not going to bother too much. Maybe until the end of the season, where they might try and change tack. But probably not mid-season, I would say. I can't really pinpoint anyone who may get sacked. Maybe the Liverpool manager, because the Liverpool manager is the old City manager, who is dreadful. But other than that, I can't immediately see anyone. So yeah, Eloise, any thoughts on this?
So my thinking is that because the season is shorter than a traditional men's season, I feel like the turnover of a window where a manager could be sacked is, I mean, it's smaller. It's a much smaller window, because it's weird sacking a manager after 4 games, 5 games, and it needs to be 10, but then that's always halfway through the season. So there's a whole if they're doing bad enough, sure, but if they're doing and they could be doing better, probably won't get sacked. And also you add in jeopardy of you're not getting relegated. So is there a necessity to sack? So I think it'd be a lot low. I think it'd be lower than last year.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be 50. I think that is not gonna happen at all.
Think
be
this
surprised
is
if it's 3.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 would probably be on the high end for me.
Yeah.
Do we think this is less likely than yours, Eloise, in terms of for points wise? Because I think it's, I don't know. I think it's in roughly the same ballpark.
I don't think it's as unlikely as so many goalless draws.
There is always a slight possibility that all of the good teams have a terrible start and they all sack their managers, which immediately give us 3 gone already. which would give us halfway there. But yeah, you are less likely to have the trigger happy owners like in the men's game as well. So there's less likely to be. They just tend to be. You tend to take more stability in inverted commas. In the women's game.
Yeah.
There's
just less clubs to make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
So there's less of a chance that a stupid decision's being made because there's less games and less clubs.
Okay. So if we're thinking it's less likely than yours, should our high offer be like 15 and 15?
Less likely than mine.
Yes.
I don't think it's less likely than mine.
Oh, so you think it's more likely than yours?
Oh yeah. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
This is definitely more likely than mine.
Okay. So maybe like 10 and 10 points wise to the high offer, and 5 and 3 for the low offer. Oh, we've been a bit too generous.
That is a very generous low offer, but if you're giving 10-10, maybe.
Did we go maybe 5 and 4 for low offer just to make
5-4?
Yeah. Okay. So
my height? No.
Yes.
It's not my height.
No, you're smaller than me, I think, are you? No, you're taller than me, aren't you? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think we're at the same height.
Okay. So
if not, yes. I'm shorter.
Yes, one of the two. So you're happy with 10-10 and 5-4?
Yeah,
yes.
I think. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, go on, Z. Higher or lower? Are you going to be a coward, or are you going to play it safe?
I think on this occasion, I think I'll take the high offer. My gut feeling is that I'm not convinced that I'm going to do brilliantly in this episode. So I feel like taking some risks might be the way to bring myself back into it, because a lot of the time I've looked at your guys' picks and gone, yeah, that does kind of feel more like me. So I'm going big, rolling the dice.
Okay, makes sense. So my prediction is all teams lose 3 or more games in the WSL. So basically, the loss column, there's going to be no number in the loss column in the table less than 3. This has happened before. At least I think when I poked back, this happened in the 23-24 season, where Chelsea and City both lost 3. This was a season where where Chelsea won it on goal difference. So it's basically, I think if this happens, you are in for a very close title fight, or at least close at the top of the table in some way. And I think this could also be a bit more of a risk because, again, the lack of relegation might not try as much, so you might get less of the third bottom team winning against a good team to pull them away from relegation, for example, which would happen if there was actual relegation this time around. But as this has happened before, I think this is possible at the very least.
Yeah. I think for me, it has happened, albeit only once. I feel like the fact that teams are getting closer together, I think the fact that we're not sure how this season will play out for all the already mentioned reasons, I think that this is unlikely, but for me, it's the most likely of the 3 of ours So for me, I would probably put it as like I think like 8-8 maybe, and then 4-3 would be about the vicinity I'm in. Eloise.
Yeah, I don't have many issues with that because I think this is the most likely of the three. Though 8-8 might be a bit too kind because I think this is happening.
You think this is happening?
Okay.
Wait, sorry, I think this won't happen.
You think this won't happen, so 8-8 is too kind?
I think 8-8 is fine. I just confused. I just confused myself. Yeah, just go with your numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
Move on.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
Right.
yeah, I think 8-8 or 4-3.
Okay. Right. I'm once again not going to be a coward. I always go for the high offer. So high offer is 8-8.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay.
If Eloise wins by a low offer margin at the end, again,
Yes.
I'm gonna throw something.
What's going to be even worse if Eloise wins by like 0.4 of a point because we gave her an extra decimal place because of the because it was funny,
Yeah.
which could happen.
Would be good.
That would be good. And on that bombshell, this is our end of our women's football predictions for the 25-26 season. Go and follow the podcast on various platforms. Go and follow everyone here. And remember, I like how everyone's in anticipation. I fucking forgot it again.
Write it down, you prick. Write it down.
Oh.
Be bad mystics.
Remember,
not
be big mystics.
No, not bad
Bad
mystics. You do this every time. Don't tell them to be bad mystics.
Remember,
be big mystics, not
not
bad
big...
mistakes. There we go.
not
Did
ba-
it for you.
Remember,
Bye.
there you go. Bye. No, yeah, fuck it, I'll leave it there.